y'all doing?
Honored to get the first one here. I guess Clayton, Missouri seemed to attack you guys on the edge pretty frequently in that game. Vanderbilt's probably going to do the same thing. What's the message to this group, and how do you guys go about game planning for knowing that what they're going to try to do and to get on the sidelines and attack?
Yep. We've had multiple meetings with our guys about just trying to make sure we understand team defense, and when teams are trying to attack us a certain way, we have to be able to adjust it within the game, and that's the main thing. You really don't know where people are going to attack you until the game's about over with or halfway through it. You're like, okay, this is what they're trying to do right now, and you just got to do a great job of adjusting on the sideline and understanding that it definitely was a perimeter game, and we have to do a better job of adjusting that. Definitely wasn't proud of how we adjusted to the perimeter game and how they were able to get the ball on our edge of our defense.
Coach, going off that question, it seemed like the Missouri tried to run a lot of misdirection in their game plan, whether it mean, maybe some option or maybe the blocking scheme going one direction while the quarterback was rolling out the opposite direction. How difficult is it to really try and coach these guys up on trying to see through that, knowing that, it might not always work out in their favor?
Yep. We was well aware of the misdirection that Missouri was going to try and do. It's just, we have to do just a great job of when we out there on the field, when, the coaches aren't with you at practice of understanding flow away. You get on the backside, you got to be slow, and we got to do a great job when they are running nakeds and rockbacks and jets and stuff like that. Our eyes got to be in the right spot. Our cleats got to be in the grass, and we got to trust what we're doing. We got to continue coaching the heck out of that and repping it at practice with those guys when they're out there in the game. That's not the second and third time they've seen it. So just continue training those guys, and I think, they got better as the game was going, but we got to continue just to keep grinding it out with the dudes. And they want it. They disappointed themselves. So obviously, we over it now, but they definitely was sick about themselves watching on Sunday. These some plays that we see every day. We just got to execute them better, continue training those guys, getting them better, getting them more ready for it.
Clayton, on that same vein, it seemed like the missed tackles kind of showed back up again. Is that just something that comes and goes? And I think we had this problem earlier in the season. Do you have to go back and reapproach that?
Well, we kind of approach it every single week, and I didn't really look at the total number yet of the missed tackles, but I definitely saw there was some missed tackles, and we addressed it, and we try to hit a little bit more this week than we normally have, and it's all different types of tackle. You can't tackle every single day at practice, or you're not going to have a football team, so you won't have a healthy football team. We tackle on Tuesdays, and we stay up on Wednesdays, but we'll probably tackle for not that long on Tuesdays, but that's just the nature of the game, and we'll just address it and keep going, and our guys obviously continue running to the ball. So if there is one missed tackle, we got to have somebody there to clean it up.
Hey, Coach. How much of an impact was it losing Brad on Saturday? I know he wasn't super on our radars as an injury report up until game day. And then how would you kind of evaluate Debo, stepping into that role on Saturday?
Yeah, Brad had a little bang up. He's back. He's having a good week of practice. And with Debo, I was proud of him. That was his first big role. He's been a reserve the past, couple of seasons and in the reserve role. But that very first play, him and Sherrod went and blew up that fullback, and so he was ready to play. And that's Debo's game. Debo's game is a physical guy. I think he had 9 tackles. He flew around, and very proud of him. I mean, he's been training from day one for that opportunity. But he's a guy that's going to really play well for us here moving forward.
You mentioned flying into the ball. Devontae was in here yesterday saying that you guys just did not do a good job with that at all. Is that a coaching thing during the week? Is that something you just got to remind on Saturdays? How do you actually fire to the ball more or make that happen as a coach?
Make that happen as a coach. One, have to keep talking about it like we always do. I thought we played hard, and there were some plays where we didn't fly to the ball, but I thought for the most part we had hats to the football, and Devontae's been harder on himself, and I get it. You lead the game, and there was 2 drives where it felt like that, but for the most part, I thought they flew to the ball. But like I said, those 2 drives, and that's the 2 drives that we wanted back. The second and third drive of the game, I think we did run to the ball for the most part, but I think those 2 drives are really sticking out the most for most people.
On those 2 drives, I guess from your perspective, what's it like when they're just kind of slowly moving the ball down the field? And I guess from a player's perspective, Can it be easier for guys to maybe try to do a little too much, to want to make a play, to try to get off the field when things are going like they were?
I would say yes. it's frustrating, and that's why our motto is put the ball down, make them snap it again. So let's not give up big plays for touchdowns. And I thought we did that during those drives. I think we got another third down. We had 2 third downs once they crossed the 50. Those are opportunities to make plays. And I think we had guys in position to make the plays, and they made a better play than we did. So you have to just put it to bed and go to the next drive. But I think our guys, they're not want to do too much. You just got to do your job, and whenever your number is called, and you just have to trust what we have going on as a team. But we hurt our offense on those 2 drives, and we didn't get the ball back to them. Our responsibility as a defense is to get the ball back to the offense without teams scoring points, and that's where we let the offense down.
Clayton, what have you seen from Vanderbilt in the film you've been able to break down of them?
To me, I've seen an improved Vanderbilt on all phases. That they have a 2-quarterback system where they can play 2 quarterbacks. That the freshman AJ is a really good quarterback. He's going to be, one of the good ones in this conference with years to come. He's actually doing pretty well this year. And Mike Wright is another quarterback that's dynamic that took 187 yards up the left sideline against Hawaii, and I think he broke one for 50 up the middle versus Elon. And they got a wide receiver in Will Shepard that can beat you. But running backs that are like bowling balls, so you got a big O-line. And to me, you have to go out here and play, and they're a well-coached football team, and I think they've changed some things around a little bit offensively, trying to do some different things, but it's a good squad when you watch it. So we're excited to go up to Nashville and take care of business.
And second half, there were a couple drives where, I guess one in particular where there was the fumble and, started – I think maybe at like the 15 or whatever, held them to a field goal. Was there a significant difference? Was the guys just making plays out as simple as that?
Whenever you're going against a team that has multiple ways to get certain guys the ball, sometimes it takes a while to figure out what they're doing. When you come out and they run some different plays that you haven't really repped at practice. For our guys to adjust to them the first time, you're probably gonna be a step behind. So we was able to talk about some things, change some things up, and our guys were, obviously it's a shorter field. Sometimes sometimes that's hard, sometimes that's easier. There's less room, whatever. But our guys did buckle up, and I thought that was a big time stop.
Vanderbilt does run a lot of RPOs, which are not new in college football. How do you maybe coach your linebackers to play that, and how important is winning a one-on-one coverages for that RPO?
RPOs has definitely made the game harder for defenses and officials, about offensive linemen down the field, and defensive ends, and just as far as there's a whole new scheme that's kind of came into the game, and it definitely makes the coaching and scheming a little bit more interesting. But I think when you're talking about stopping the run, you also got to talk about RPO. They all go hand in hand. So I think this, it's a chess match really between you and how they're playing it, and you want to come out on the front end of that thing, but it definitely, you got to coach up your linebackers, coach up your defensive ends, and getting their hands up, and your corners, every play is a pass. So that's the new, almost getting old college football now.
Coach, Vanderbilt on offense they also run a lot of 2 tight end sets where both tight ends will be lined up on the same side of the line of scrimmage, and sometimes they'll even motion a guy behind them to where it's really overloaded on that one side. How do you go about trying to defend against that, and maybe not having the guys key in too much, knowing that they could, of course, always just run the play to a different area of the field and use it as eye candy?
Absolutely. That's a good point, that they've actually made their offense a little bit more multiple this year than they have been in the past. They use multiple tight ends, and they give you all different types of pitchers, which, makes it challenging for the defense to make sure we ID who's going to motion in. Are they going to try to make it a 12 pitcher, which is a 2 tight end set, or a 1 tight end set, or a no tight end set? So our guys got to be on their P's and Q's, and we got to stay ahead of the motions and make sure we're not caught off guard by any types of new gadgets or motions. Thank you. Thank you very much. Take care.